What another incredible weekend we had in week 2 of the 2026 MLS season. We had big time performances, we had big time comebacks, and even some lopsided games. The incredible comeback like Orlando City and Inter Miami, where Inter Miami was down 2-0 at the half, came back and won 4-2. And we're going to be breaking it all down here. But before we get into it, make sure you guys like this video down below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that little bell notification so you never miss any of our videos. So let's start off with the LA Galaxy versus Charlotte FC. The LA Galaxy, a team that had been struggling, obviously, big time in 2025, had a terrible season in 2025 and have made some key additions to rebound in 2026. Charlotte FC was a good team in 2025, looking to compete and maybe even get over the hump and win an MLS Cup in 2026. Well, things are not starting really well for Charlotte FC. But in this game, Sanabria puts LA Galaxy on the board first, 1-0. At that point, it's like, okay, what's going to happen? Is Charlotte FC going to rebound? Are they going to be resilient in this game? The answer is no, because Joao Klauss had a brace in 2 minutes, 11th minute, 13th minute, scored to put the LA Galaxy up 3-0. 13 minutes into this game, set the tone, and it was over from that point forward. LA Galaxy could have had more goals than this, but my God, what a terrible start for Charlotte FC this season. But to talk about the Galaxy, Joao Klauss, talk about balling out, right? Maybe he's better than we thought he was with St. Louis City SC. He had the first good season in 2023, kind of stagnated a little bit in 24 and 25, but Joao Klauss is the piece that the LA Galaxy maybe were missing instead of Ricky Puig. Ricky Puig, obviously important, but they've really never replaced Joveljic. Joao Klauss is the first competent striker they've had up top since they had Joveljic 2 seasons ago. And he's got 3 goals in 2 games, and he looks like he's very well on his way to scoring 20 goals this 2026 season. And he's got everybody else playing better, like Paintsel and Gabriel Peck. Gabriel Peck has the most shots in MLS in 2026. I don't think he has a goal yet, though. So that's a little bit concerning, but he's getting some opportunities. We'll see if he can cash on some of those throughout the stretch of the season. But this team looked much better, didn't concede a goal, looks much better defensively in 2026. And then on the flip side, Charlotte FC, a disaster. Zaha, a disaster. Probably won't be here after the summer. Beal, a little disappointing. Vargas, disappointing. The back line, Tim Ream was getting absolutely cooked, filleted by Joao Klauss in this game. He was just dominating him, which is not a good sign for the 2026 World Cup. Kalina let some easy ones through. Disappointing from Charlotte FC, one of the most disappointing teams so far through 2 weeks in the 2026 season. LA Galaxy looking pretty good. We'll see what they can do and if they can continue this success heading into the 2026 season. Next game we have is the New York Red Bulls versus New England Revolution. These are the 2 youth movement teams in MLS right now, playing a lot of young guys, looking for production and development, right? So the Red Bulls won their first game against Orlando City 2-1, looking to continue the success, and that's exactly what they did. Julian Hall, the 17-year-old USMNT striker, had to brace his first week, but was this a fluke? Was this a one-time thing? Was he going to be able to score again? Was it going to be a while till he scores again? He gets another goal in his next game, second game of the year. Now he's at 3 in 2 games in the 2026 season. He looks absolutely incredible, I think. For 17 years old, forget about it. Like, this is what you want to see with a young player. And Mehmeti, another assist for the young 16-year-old midfielder. He looks incredible too. Michael Bradley is letting these guys play, and it's a beautiful thing to see for the USMNT's future and for the youth development in MLS. And we had Matthew DeSantos, who started again. So 3 players, 17 or younger, playing again in this for this New York Red Bulls team. Ethan Horvath had a good game, clean sheet for the New York Red Bulls. On the other side, New England still has some young players. They're trying to figure things out. I don't think that this is going to be a competitive team from the get-go, but I do think as the season progresses, they will get better down the stretch under Mitrovic. It's one of those things that's going to have to progress. They got Carlos Gil, who is an MVP caliber MLS player, but he's just surrounded with such young talent and players that I don't think it's going to, be something that looks nice for maybe a couple weeks. But I do think once these players settle in, I think that it could be a lot better and they could be competitive. I don't think they're going to be a playoff team, but we'll see what the New England Revolution do in 2026. They win The New York Red Bulls win 1-0. 12 shots, 4 on target to New England's 5 shots, 3 on target. The next thing we have is the Vancouver Whitecaps versus Toronto FC. Vancouver Whitecaps, the team that had been revolutionized in 2025 under manager Jesper Sorensen, and they play Toronto FC, a kind of a broken team, right? Made some moves recently. They traded for Saloy from Sporting Kansas City. They just bought Josh Sargent, but they have Etienne playing as a striker. It's just not good enough. And you can just tell this team is kind of pieced together rather than a full flourishing team at this moment. But Vancouver was just toying with them. Thomas Müller came in late in the season in 2025, integrated pretty well, actually, for a guy who joined a team that was good, that he didn't really have any chemistry with, but he's settling into his own and he looked good. He had a brace in this game. He had a goal in the 25th minute, goal in the 37th minute, and then Brian White scored before the half to put them up 3-0, and then they just coasted by. We're in complete control of this game. Takeoka still balling out in goal, one of the best goalkeepers, maybe the best goalkeeper in MLS in 2025 and currently. This team is well positioned to be the best team in the Western Conference. I think that this is the most well-rounded team in the East or the Western Conference. And I would say they're the best team in the Western Conference right now, the Vancouver Whitecaps. They are absolutely incredible. They are not missing a beat. They are just as good as they were last year, and they might be even better in 2026. We'll have to see. And Toronto FC, we'll see what happens once they get Josh Sargent integrated into this team. But Toronto FC still has a long way to go, and they haven't won a game this year, and it's just a struggle. We'll see if Josh Sargent, the $20 million man, can make any difference for this team. Vancouver Whitecaps keep on rolling. And also, real quick, the Vancouver Whitecaps had 14 shots, 4 on goal to Toronto FC's 5 shots, 2 on target. The Vancouver Whitecaps had a 3 goal expected rate where Toronto FC only had a 0.35. I mean, it was just a blowout. It wasn't even close. It was a tough matchup for Toronto FC, and we'll see what they can do heading forward. Next game we have is the San Jose Earthquakes versus Atlanta United. Now, San Jose is a team that was in a rebuild, right? They got rid of Chicho Arango. They got rid of Joseph Martinez. They got rid of Christian Espinosa. And the only person they brought in of significance was Timo Werner, which we'll get into him in a second. On the flip side, Atlanta United, a team that spent a lot of money the last year and a half. They brought back Tata Martino to hopefully get the most out of this team in 2026. And so far, he has not, because this team is not very good. Miguel Almiron, not very good in 2026. Miranchuk, coming off the bench, not worth the $12 million. Emmanuel Latelot, looking like the biggest bust in MLS history because of the price tag he cost. Could have been $30 million, not worth half that, not worth probably 1/3 of that with his productivity in MLS. Still yet to score a goal in 2026. Huge disappointment for Atlanta United. They don't look like they're going to be much better than they were in 2025, which is sad because when you're playing the greatest hits, you're bringing back the legendary manager in Tata Martino, you're expecting to see results and be better in 2026, but that has yet to happen this season so far. And then on the other side, San Jose Earthquakes, like I said, got rid of those 3 players, brings in Timo Werner. Timo Werner comes in the 61st minute, gets an assist, beautiful goal by Buda, and Timo Werner made an impact immediately off the bench. He was very pacey. He was threatening. I just thought he looked comfortable early on, and I fully expect him to be integrated into the starting 11 probably going forward in the next week. I thought that Jamar Ricketts has been balling out this year too. This has given them an opportunity, San Jose, to give some of these guys a chance to play that maybe wouldn't have got a chance to play with some of the other players they had on this team from last year. But San Jose is a sneaky good team, and I think they could be battling for a playoff spot in 2026. And we have the next game, the Chicago Fire and Montreal. Montreal is quite literally maybe the worst team I've ever seen in MLS. I mean, they are horrible. They are the worst team I might have ever seen in MLS. And it's sad, and we're gonna get this video done about why it's so bad and what's happened to this team and how pathetic it is by the Saputo family to run it like this. We'll get to that soon. But let's talk about this game first. I mean, the Fire, Hugo Kuipers was threatening all game long, and he almost had a couple early goals. Jonathan Bamba finally breaks through, gets him on the score sheet 27 minutes in, put him up 1-0. And then it looked like maybe that this could be a game that Montreal could sneak back into, but they never could. In the 90th minute, the Chicago Fire was able to score 2 goals, actually in added time. But the key to this game was that they literally lost the guy in the 56th minute. The Chicago Fire did. So they were playing with 10 men for 44 minutes, if you include the added time, and Montreal could do nothing. They could do nothing. In the total shots, Chicago had 17 total shots, 11 on target. They were threatening all game. They had an expected goal rate of 3. They didn't even win possession, but that really doesn't matter. But they were just beating them up, and they had so many opportunities. This could have been a lot uglier than what it was. Montreal had 4 shots the entire game, 2 on target, and most of those came in the second half when Chicago was down to 10 men. This Montreal team is absolutely horrible. This is sloppy seconds FC is what I call them, because they'll take whoever any team in MLS doesn't want and bring them over. This team has no ambition, and it's just pathetic. And this is the reason why some people think that relegation should be a thing, because of how bad this team is. They have no business being in this league with their lack of commitment in MLS. On the flip side, the Chicago Fire get a bounce back win, dominating fashion. I'm very high on Chicago Fire in 2020. In 2026. I think they're going to be better. They're going to add a couple other guys in the summer. I think Chris Brady is an ascending star goalkeeper. I think he's the best up-and-coming goalkeeper in MLS. And this team has a lot of bright pieces, and we'll see what they can do heading forward in the 2026 MLS season. So, to break down the rest of the games that we saw this past weekend, we had a lot of other good games. We'll start off with Minnesota United. Minnesota United beat Cincinnati. Cincinnati obviously is a team that a lot of people are high on in the Eastern Conference. They were able to get a 1-0 win over them. James Rodriguez did not make his debut. Colorado gets a 2-0 victory over the Portland Timbers. Colorado's been playing very well this season so far. Surprising me, Matt Wells doing a decent job so far. Still early, but it's what you would like to see. Portland's a team I thought was going to make the playoffs, and they lose 2-0. Now, they did have a red card, but we'll see what happens going forward with Colorado and Portland. RSL beats the Seattle Sounders 2-1. This is like the 14th or 15th time, I think, in a row that Seattle has lost to RSL at Sandy, at RSL. And it feels like they're cursed. I think RSL is okay of a team, but Seattle, I think, is going to struggle in 2026. I'm not very high on them. I've said this many, many times. And the streak continues of them losing at RSL, which is something needs to change. Sporting Kansas City and Columbus finished 2-2 draw. I think both these teams are kind of mediocre this year. Sporting Kansas City, I don't think is very good. And Columbus, I think, is going to be greatly underwhelming. We'll see if their new manager can pick things up, but I'm not really sold on him. I think that there could be a chance that he's not the manager in 2027, but we'll see. Give him time. LAFC beat Houston Dynamo 2-0. We know what happened there. We broke that game down. Dallas and Nashville ended in a 0-0 draw. Nothing lackluster there. Kind of disappointing. And then yesterday, Sunday, we had Austin FC beating DC United, a DC United team that has been revamped. Austin FC is able to get that 1-0 victory over DC United. Austin FC looks very good in 2026. I think they could be a much improved team. Philadelphia loses to New York City 2-1. Philadelphia got rid of a lot of key players. I talked about this, getting a lot of backlash, talking about them regressing in 2026, but here we are. They don't look as good as they did in 2025. Some Porter Shield winning team, 66 points in 2025 to 0-2 in 2026. No wins yet. Look very, very underwhelming. Orlando City and Inter Miami, incredible game we saw. Inter Miami was down 2-0 at halftime. Then they came back and scored 4 goals in the second half, thanks to Messi, Silvetti, and Talasco Segovia. They balled out in the second half. Messi balled out, had his brace. Beautiful goal and a beautiful free kick. That was an incredible game this weekend. San Diego FC keeps rolling, beats St. Louis City SC 2-0. Andrew Stryer, one-man show. I thought they were going to look worse in 2025 because they only have one DP and Andrew Stryer. But little did I know, Andrew Stryer is probably as good as one DP as some teams' 3 DPs. That's just the work rate he has and how good of quality he is. So Andrew Stryer is the man. San Diego FC look like they're rocking and rolling. They look like they're going to be a top team in the Western Conference again, and they have a chance to possibly finish the top of the Western Conference once again. So I want to know what you guys think, but I'm going to give you my man of the match this weekend. I have to go with Lionel Messi. I know some of you are like, oh, Lionel Messi, that's too easy. But the reason why I would pick him to be my man of the match for this second week in the 2026 season would be because this was his first game he'd ever played in Orlando, ever. Inter Miami had never beaten Orlando at Orlando in the 6 seasons they've been a club, or 7 seasons they've been a club. So there was a lot of pressure on this game. And especially after the 0-3 loss they had against LAFC. And they delivered. They were down 2-0 at half, and they balled out in the second half. And Messi had a brace, and he was a big part of that. So I have to give him the man of the match. And I'd have to say it's the best game because of the back and forth. down 2-0 to 4-2, 6 goals in a game. What more could you ask for? Scoring fest. That was my match of the weekend. I'd love to know what you guys think. Who was your man of the match of this entire 2026 week 2 in MLS? And what was the best game or most exciting game you watched this past weekend? Let me know in the comment section down below. And if you guys enjoy this video, make sure you hit the like button down below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that little bell notification so you never miss any of our videos. Until next time, guys, I'll see you all soon.